Ishvaro Raksha Shambho Mahadev. So we were discussing Sombur Bhuva. So we described about the living and life. Swaha. Then Swaha, he says, according to him, is embodiment of happiness. Swaha, so many meanings of Swaha. Swaha is Swa, is me, Aham. Swaha, meaning of Swaham itself. Swaha is also based on Swahamon. Swaha is me, Swaha is the embodiment of happiness. The true meaning is that, in the sense. Swaha in the sense, Swa, like Swabhava, Swayam, Swakarya, Swadharma, Swaha, Swaham, Swaha. Swabhava of the Aham is what? Happiness. Embodiment of happiness. That's it. Swaha. So, Om Bhur Bhuvaha, that what we have explained is that it is Swaha, the Aham, the Atma. Who is the happiness? The Atma. Because the happiness is only in the Atma, where there are no duality. There only the happiness comes. Dvandvada, wherever Dvandvada is there, there is no happiness. There has to be differences. When there are differences, there is no happiness. When there is happiness and unhappiness, there is no happiness. Where Dvandvada is there, there is no happiness. Where there is no duality, Ekam is there. When there is no duality, then only the happiness is there. So if the Bhuhu, Bhuvaha has to be the embodiment, this is Swayam, is the Aham, Swaha, then it has to be the Atma only. But having construed the above parameters earlier when we have discussed how it can directly go into the happiness, how it can directly go into the Atma, because they have to be applicable. The practices, through the practices of the Jivatma, through the practices of the Gayatri, that's why it is known as Trayate Gayam is the prayer. So in order to, when the Trayate takes place, having understood what is called the Om, what is called the Bhuhu and what is called the Bhuvaha, so automatically the Swayam is clear. When the Swaha is clear, Swayam is clear, Swaha is clear, when the happiness automatically happens, the embodiment of happiness. Transmission of this happiness into all other things will take place when Swaha is identified. So naturally when the destroyer of sufferings, spiritual energies, prana, this, that, all we have explained about it, when those things takes place, the happiness, to bring the happiness, what is that happiness again? What is that embodiment of happiness? Who is there somebody who is undergoing the status of happiness? When the Swaha is understood, then is one experiences the happiness. is difficult to say. Whether the Atma is experiencing the happiness, when the truth is known and the truth is prevalent and truth is experienced, when it has got its own peace, when there are no agitations, it can be classified as happiness. So the experience of the happiness, in the sense again, when the Atma is undergoing the status of truth, when the Atma is living in truth, when the Atma is undergoing the process of the truth, when the Atma is experiencing the existence, in the sense when the Atma is merging with the Paramatma, when its own existence as an individual, as duality, where it doesn't remain. Atma and Paramatma's duality, when it is no more there, then only one can call it as a happiness. Well, it's only a name. At that time, at that point of time, whether Paramatma is undergoing the experience of the happiness, classification of happiness, what is it happiness? How Atma is undergoing a happiness? By drinking milk, sleeping, or watching a movie? I mean, how to you understood? Here we can say, okay, I was happy because I saw that. I was happy because I ate it. I was happy I slept. No, we have always a reason for it, this happiness, you see. How will one classify even this embodiment of happiness in the Atma? And who will say I am happy? Will Atma say I am happy? If Atma says I am happy, there is a duality there. So what is that classification? So please don't take it in that spirit. This is why I am saying that even though a meaning has been given, it is only parameters to be related with the materialistic way of understanding, because the language, that's all. Is why Samskrita they said nothing. He didn't say about the embodiment of happiness or something like that. Nothing. There is a difference in the language. That's why the language has got a lot of richness in that. Many of the people in the universe have learned Sanskrit. By learning Sanskrit itself, one got purified, because we are learning words which are having such meaning, so we behave like that. Is it not? We learn actually because we have languages. That languages tell us the meanings. So the mind will go and experience that. Yes, this is what happens. In the long run, actually, it takes probably generations to knowledge. Because the jnanam is that brightness is jnanam. Brightness, they say the light is jnanam. That's why the jnanam is also showing the light. Show me the light in my life, they say. Show me, throw some light on the subject, they say. Even in normal talks, throw some light, throw some knowledge on that. Give me some knowledge. Savitur is that knowledge, connected with the knowledge. That which is knowledge, Savitur. Varenyam. Na anyate, Varaha is Varenyam. Nothing other than the best. Varenyam. Anyata, that means nothing other than the choice, nothing other than the Savitur. Nothing other than the brightness should be chosen. Nothing other than the jnanam should be chosen. Then only the swaha, habit of swaha has to be there. So that swaha will have to choose nothing other than the jnanam, Savitur. Varenyam. Savitur Varenyam. So you have choices. The choice is the best choice. Savitur. Choose the jnanam. Who has to choose the jnana? Everything that is living has to choose the jnana. In order to live, the jnanam has to be there. So the Atma has to choose the jnanam, the mind has to choose the jnanam, Indriyas choose jnanam, Sharira has to choose. Savitur. Vare anyam. Vare anyam. Nothing other than that jnanam should be chosen. There may be so many things available in the world, doesn't mean that you have to choose everything. Yes. Trees, plants, do that. Savitur Varenyam. It chooses only what it wants. You pour anything under that, or you put anything under that, or in the world, in the earth there are so many things available. In the atmosphere there are so many things available. It doesn't extract anything that is not necessary for it to grow, or it to bloom, or it to fruit. Only that what is necessary it is taken. That is why even thousands of years ago also, yes, the apple and mango and brinjal and lady's finger tasted the same as it is tasting today. Except for the chemicals that you have added. The mind, again, see what happened? The cells created by his thought process is fear because of his experience of the guilt. The growing cells in his mind and in his sharira is the fear. Naturally, the fear is accumulated in that. So, each and every experience that he is experiencing, he will have only that. He will look things only through that. When he looks any shadow, he will say that it is it's a preta that is following me. Any shape, any form, or anything for that matter. The mind is oriented towards that. When you have got something else, I have seen people, you also might have noticed, somebody goes to some place, new place and all that, he will always say, do you get a smell? And this fellow gets a smell. Everywhere he goes, he gets a smell. Now, all others say there is no smell, nothing like that. No, I am getting angry. See, that, have you noticed some people are there? You get a strange smell. Now, strange smell is you only. You are only smelling strange. He'll say, getting strange smell. Yeah? See how it is? His mind is occupied in that. How? Why? Because there is certain, whatever reason it is. The cells grown in him is that. Savitur, I am explaining Savitur. In detail, one has to understand this. It is not that simply we think that, mantra is there and we chant the mantra and finish. No. If this thought process is not cleansed, even the living becomes difficult. Because our outlook, our looking at things to the world is totally depending upon all these things. That's why he said, Savitur Varenyam, Bhargo, destroyer of sins. How can I destroy the sins? By acquiring this jnanam only. When I got Upanishadic jnanam, when I got Vedic jnanam, when I got the jnanam of... Now don't have to think that, this is too difficult and too big. Vedic jnanam, Upanishadic. The true way of dharmic way of living, the true way of living, connected with the Atma, that what is necessary. Shamadama, Shamadamadi, Shat Sampati. Living based on the Shat Sampati is good enough. That's all. Everything will need. We have already explained what is Shat Sampati. That's why it is known as Sampati. That is Sampat for the Shat Sampati. It is that. Living like that is good enough. So you are connecting yourself to the Atma. So naturally, when we live for the Atma, when we live, that life is Atmas. The life means the prana. The life means what is the life energy in you? Is prana. The life in you, who is living? The prana, Atma is living. When our execution of karmas, each and everything is meant for Atma, then the Savitur Varenyam takes place. When Savitur Varenyam takes place, Bhargo, destroyer of sins, that whatever, even though the mind and indriyas get attracted and attached to the desire and the attractions of this worldly, emotional world, or the Mayaik world, we say, Maya. World is there, Mayaik world is there. Mayaik world is that which are temporary, which is emotional world. So people are mostly connected with emotional world, it's not even the true world. I mean, most of the people are not seeing the world as world. The true world are not seen. It is the illusion that he has created inside him, and he looks at it like that. As I told you, nothing is experienced outside. The whole thing is experienced inside only. Whether I go to this place, that place, or see this thing and that electronics and this fruit and this plant and this life and this form, this car and that car, everything is experienced inside only. It's not. I am experiencing inside. Sitting here, I can experience that what I have seen 10 years before. The thing is no more existing. It's destroyed and gone. Many of our ancestral houses are rebuilt after so many years, 100 years. But a person will say, I still remember each and every corner of that house. My grandmother used to sleep there. My mother used to sleep there. This was our place. There was a tree here. And do you know there were 3 plants of rose here in this side, in this corner? Absolutely. Where is the experience? Nothing is existing. Memory, we call it as memory. What is that memory? Experiencing. He is experiencing even today the same thing that what he has seen it, what he has experienced much before. So whatever you have experienced will only be seen by you, is one thing. That which is not experienced cannot be seen. So when you have experiencing that which will be remembered, which will be seen by you, that is why they say that means that what you see should be that what is necessary for you to remember. You should see only that what is necessary to be remembered. Is why the simple principle of Gandhiji's: don't see things that is not necessary. Don't hear those which is not necessary. Yes. Don't smell that what is not. Don't speak what is not necessary. When you do all this, what happens? Memories will be only that. That is the reason. Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. So memories will not be there. When the memory is there, it will create a cell. It will create this one decay. So sins have come. Even though I don't see, I don't do any sin, but I see sin every day, I hear sin every day, I think sin every day. So naturally what happens? It's only sin that is growing inside you. Is why this should not be done. How can I stop? Many people ask the same question. Today all around the world there is completely all full of sins. How can I stop not seeing the sin? How can I stop not listening? How can I stop not speaking? As I told you now it's difficult for people today. Today's people, it is difficult to understand it. As I told you some time back, just now, a few minutes back, whenever somebody goes somewhere, he only feels smells. He is finding his smell. The time when he find his smell, then he is happy. Oh yes, see, here also that smell is there. He is looking for it. A Tapasvi Jnani Maharshi or earlier days, Savituru Varenyam, when it is practiced not to see the sin, how? Sakshi Bhavam. Because I have got judgment. Mind goes under judgment. I do the judgment. I look at things in critical manner. I identify them as bad and good. As if I know everything. Everything is done again. Why the world is existing? Because of this duality. Dvandva Bhav, we have read it in Bhagavad Gita also, in earlier Upanishads also, the world is created with the Dvandva Bhava. That is why it is known as Prakriti, it is known as Maya. Brahmacharis, when Vaishambhayana has taught the Brahmacharis, he told them how to identify Parabrahman in you and function for the Parabrahman that who is in you. This has been trained to him from the small. And he does all his kriyas, all his karmas, all the pravartis, all the dharmas, everything for the purpose of the Parabrahman. He doesn't have an identity of his sharira and mana separately as I am so and so Swami, so and so Brahmachari, so and so man, so and so woman. He doesn't have that identity. The identity is only that Parabrahman. His teachings are spirituality, connect spirituality in the sense, it's not a special language or a special subject or special lesson that has to be learned. That what is necessary for the spirit is spirituality. That what is necessary for the Atma is called spirituality. So when he practices that, when he speaks that, he will see only that. If he sees that what is happening, there is a murder happening there for a normal person or something nonsense happening somewhere. For a person who doesn't have the identity of the Sakshi Bhava or Brahmacharyatva, Brahma Sachátkaram, Brahma Tattvam is not available in him, he will look at it as a murder or killing a person, one person killing another person. When Brahmatvam comes in him, he will identify that as the karma of somebody who is being experienced by him. Another person experiences his karma of destruction of that. His outlook towards that is totally different. Is it right or wrong? When today people will prove it as wrong. Why? Because today everything functions based on the emotional satisfactions and dissatisfaction. Now is it right? It is not right. How will Brahmachari look at it today? If a Brahmachari, if a Brahmajnani looks at a murder, looks at a nuisance happening, nonsense happening, how will he identify? You may ask me, will he say that, oh, they are all same? Absolutely right. He has a Sakshi Bhava there. He doesn't do a judgment on that. From him, only a Parabrahman is looking at it. So when the Parabrahman Jnanam is looking at it, he will find that these persons are functioning absolutely ignorant and nonsense. Why? Because they are acting based on the emotional satisfaction and dissatisfaction. They are acting as emotional satisfaction and dissatisfaction. So both of them, the one who died and the one who killed and the one who died, both are equally ignorance. Both are equally emotionally functioning is how the Brahmachari identifies. Then how it happens? It is because of the evolution theory again. Depending upon the Kali Yuga, because depending upon the karma phalas they are doing, and the upliftment of the Brahmacharyatam is not there in them, is why this is happening, will be identified by him. Here he doesn't have an involvement. He doesn't say he is this, he is that, he is siding with him. Nothing is there. But is it right? It is not right. Because both of them are emotionally functioning. They are based on, not through the jnanam they are functioned, they are emotionally functioned. That is why it has happened. So emotional disturbances takes place. Now, a snake is swallowing a frog. Are we not watching it? Have we not seen it? How many of us are told, poor frog? If the frog is poor, what will the snake eat? If the rat is poor or the cat is poor, how will the cat survive? How will the rat survive? How will the snake survive? How will the frog survive? Frog eats a small insect and snake eats a frog and eagle eats a snake and someone else. Sakshi Bhava, when it comes, he will identify like this. If the Sakshi Bhava is not there, we will say that, oh, when the frog is being taken by the snake, eaten by the snake, snake is bad, frog is good. No, a classification will come. The tiger is good and the cow is bad, or the cow is good, the tiger is bad. Some classifications will come. Now this is called judgment. Normally what happens, people emotionally functioning, they will have judgmental effects on this, whereas a brahmachari has got totally different outlook. He is not involved in that and he is not influenced by those activities of the prakriti. He is not influenced in that. Neither he will go because of that emotional this one, and he will not copy them, and neither he will get murdered nor he will murder. Nor he will be affected by the nuisance, nor he will do the nuisance. Why? Because he will execute his karmas only connected with the Brahman. That what is not necessary, he will forget from his sight. That's all. When everyone lives like that, then the whole world is absolutely beautiful. So one has to live for the Atma. So such a Bhargo, destroyer of the sins. How the sin is created? Sin is created like this. Sin is created only by the illusions, imaginations and creations. That one who is forgetting the truth, one who is forgetting the Atma. That's why we always say that, no? People who you believe in God, if you forget God and try to live, you will commit sins and it is a papa and all that. See how the colloquial words are like that, but it is absolutely true. If you forget your own Atma Sakshi, if you forget, who is God? The Atma. The Atma is the God. If you forget your own Atma and function according to your own emotions and satisfactions and dissatisfactions of the mind, you are a sinner. And because of your sin, you only get affected. Why? Because you are supposed to execute the karma for the Atma that you have in you, Paramatma in you, that Atma in you. So it doesn't affect others, but people who are connected with that karma along with you also get affected in their Atma. Why? Because they are supporting that what is not necessary. So naturally it's a group karma, we call it. Is how that one has to function. That is why they call it as God. That's what's called super consciousness, higher consciousness, any name you call it. Atma. So justification is only trying to, we all justify things, we all, mentally we will justify in the sense, we ourselves is a justice. So what I have done is right, others have done is wrong, is justification of what I have done. Who told that? My emotion told that. My ego told that. See, when that ego is not there, when the aham is not there, that sin is not committed. When I got a Sakshi Bhava, witness Sakshi Bhava, we will have a Sakshi Bhava only when we have Jnanam, when we have Atma Sakshatkaram, when we function for the purpose of the Atma, that's all. Then only the Sakshi Bhava. That what is happening is not because of you or because of others. It is because of the karma phala, execution of karma phala, that one has to undergo that. So you should undergo that, face it and undergo that. There is no loss, there is no gain. That what is necessary has to be given, that what is necessary has to be received. This identification, when it is not in the knowledge, then we have loss and gain. But the same thing when it happens when we have got the bodhavastha, yes, then nothing is there. Buddha, he lost his kingdom, he left rather. So he can call it as a loss of palace, lot of palatial happiness, wealth and things like that. But he never said. Why? Because he is he, what palace is palace, wealth is wealth, it is meant for whom, whatever it is. As far as he is concerned, his conscious bodha is important for him. So he has got the bodha. After attaining the bodha, he found everything is temporary. Nothing that will go along with you, in the sense, nothing will go with the Atma. Everything has to decay and destroy and die. They are all meant for utility for some time. This identification, as I told, that this Sharira was that something 1 minute before, this Sharira was someone else. After 1 minute, this Sharira is somebody else. It's not the same person who was there 1 minute before. Because neither the thought, nor the mind, nor Sharira, nothing is same as it was before. It's all changed. So if it is Sharira and Mana that we consider as Sharira, this is what happens, it is not permanent. Atma, that which is invisible, that source of the consciousness, that Jnanam, is the only one, that experience, a result of experience, Karma Bala, Tabo Bala, is the only one which is that which is permanent, or the Atma is the one which is permanent. So function of the prana is meant for living the life for the purpose of the Atma. So Bhargo is destroyer of the sins. So sins are created like that. When the sins are created by the mind and by the Indriyas, by the Sharira and by others because of this mishandling of the Jnanam, when it is rectified through the tapasya, through the upasana, through the nidhyasana, through studies of the Vedic science, through studies of the Upanishadic way of living, dharmic way of living, when a brahmachari, like a brahmachari, trained by Vaishambhayana, including Yajnavalkya, when this happens, automatically Bhargo, sins, destroyer of sins, takes place. The destruction of the sins takes place in this. Devasya. Devasya, we all know what is Devasya. Divine source. Divine. Devaha. That we have earlier also we have explained about the Devatva. When we have got the guna, when we go beyond the guna, when we become the gunadita, then it is Deva. When it is gunadita, then it is Devata. When the Devata is functioning in the Sharira, only that what is necessary for the Atma will take place. That is why we call it as Devatas, Devikata. Devikata is that gunadita. Guna is necessary. Gunas are necessary when the Sharira and Mana and emotions are there. Gunati Turiya Avastha, that is the one which is Devikata, is Devasya, divine. The other part of it we will tell the next class. Now you will stop early today. Om Shanti.